Pro. Okay, hello. My name is Tony Placido, and I am your host this evening and most of the time when we do this show. This is Poets and Pints number 115. So we've been going for a while, and as I was telling some people when they came in, we have our 10-year anniversary in February, which is going to be a big show. We got 6 poets. We're flying in Sierra de Mulder. We got Tish Jones, Desdemona, Black Pearl Warren, Katie Venino, who's been a host on this show, and Brett Elizabeth Jenkins, who is one of the co-founders of this show. So 6 women. It's going to be fantastic. It's a mere $5 to come, and it's on a Saturday night, February 8th. So put it on your calendar and go to Eventbrite. Look up Poets and Pints 10th anniversary, and you can buy yourself a ticket. So tonight, one of our poets, Aaron, had a sick child. So we only have 2 poets, but our own social media queen, Bethany, who's gone right there. Can't see you in the light. Bethany will be running around taking pictures, but I'm also going to have her do a set because I'm cruel and like to spring that on people. But before we get to that, we're going to start with our first featured poet. Actually, before I do that, I want to tell you that we are part of Cracked Walnut. If you have not heard of Cracked Walnut is the local chapter of the League of Minnesota Poets. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. And the League of Minnesota Poets does a lot of things around the state of Minnesota to enrich poetry and to help teach poetry and different poetry programs. There's different writing classes and stuff that happen. So if you go to mnpoets.org, you can find out more about that, or you can go to crackedwalnut.com. But let's start. We're going to start with you, Allison. So Allison is a queer disabled writer. She is an author of Where Will We Live If the House Burns Down? That's a great title. That's from Persea Books. Winner of the 2023 Lexi Runitsky Editor's Choice Award and 3 other full-length collections. She's also the author of 5 chapbooks. Seems like all of which are over there, by the way. So when we're done or when we're taking a break, make sure to buy books to support local artists. Allison is the founder and publisher of Small Harbor Publishing. She lives in Minnesota with her spouse and 3 children. And you can find her at AllisonBlevins.com. Everybody, please put your hands together for Allison Blevins.
Ooh,
I know.
it's kind of bendy.
Yeah, step on the sides. It's kind of shit.
It's okay.
I'm a master at microphone heights. I will tell you that.
It's very bright. Okay. I have my phone, not because I'm expecting a call, but just so I don't go over time. Okay, so this is my most recent book, Where Will We Live If the House Burns Down? And it's a strange little creation. I wrote it as flash nonfiction vignettes, hoping to tell a story in novel form, but in also kind of a very lyric way. And then it ended up winning a poetry contest, so we call it poetry, but I'm not sure it is. You will notice a lot of references to female surrealists. The book really draws heavily on those images. There are 3 main characters, Grim, the sergeant, and then an ever increasingly unhinged narrator, and I am both the narrator and Grim, if any of it's true. I patch Grim together like an exquisite corpse, blinking eyes on her breasts and labia and knees, Grimm is badly drawn. Grimm is always blinking, sleepy. I can't compose the sergeant. I try, I want, I fold and fold and fold. The page always white when I unfold and flatten the white against the table. I'm worried Grimm is becoming the central figure of this story. I didn't plan on it, but here we are anyway. I should mention those nights, giddy on ecstasy, a lover brushed Grimm's curls straight, or how the comb trilled static against her back, or how one of her lovers killed a friend with her car, or how one burnt down a house in revenge, thought it was empty, or how one held Grimm by the throat in a wet alley. In the grocery store, when the son was a baby, he vomited as he played in the seat of the metal cart. Grimm caught the vomit in her hands like they were a bowl. I think that may be what love looks like. We are not held but bound to each other. Eventually, there was nothing left to do but toss the vomit to the floor. No one came to save her. I carry their portraits with me, Grimm, the sergeant, the children, watercolors on canvas. Grimm asks to write letters to her surgeon, anesthesia and morphine stupor. She wants to know how many stitches. Grimm and the sergeant have a fight. They tight smile, angry whisper. Grimm says she is writing a screenplay on her head. The sergeant tells Grimm she is speaking gibberish. The reel behind them glows. Grimm substitutes objects for all of the characters. The son will be fingernail clippings, the daughter a stuffed dog, the youngest white petticoats. Gibberish. Fine, Grimm whispers, I'm calling my mother. Nurses teach Grimm how to get out of bed. In the screenplay, she is a felled tree. Grimm has lost all feeling in her pocket, her breasts, and the fat pockets under her arms. I wonder if her audience wants to hear about each relapse in detail. In the mirror, Grimm notices grimace lines around her mouth. She rocks the body as if cradling an infant. Here is where we edge too close to sentimental. Perhaps only the ill and broken notice how mourning is both being veiled and the veil lifting. Videos of cysts pressed to popping, singing competitions on television, but only the auditions where nearly everyone is winning and all the mothers sob from pride. Scones. Grimm loves these things. Coffee too. Coffee with no sweetener, coffee with half and half. Grimm hates when semis make left turns in front of her at four-way stops, and she is stopped first in the turning lane. They get closer and closer and closer. She hates her ex-wife. She once asked her father if he knew a guy. She wants to hate the sergeant's ex-wife, but Grimm imagines they might have much to say to each other. When the sergeant lived on Ohio Street with the first wife, police found a man in a deep freeze in a house on Vermont Street. His wife had kept him there for 6 years. No foul play was discovered. I think this says something about the nature of wives. The sergeant is still bothered. Such a thing could happen so close. Only a few letters between him and the finality of a freezer. I can't tell you what the sergeant loves or hates. At night, he sits in the living room. Grimm is in the bed. If you aren't ready to know what is true, you should never look at the messages on your spouse's phone. In the car after a trip, they argue. The one they have on repeat, like some distant moon's orbit, like laundry, like the children's running path around the kitchen island. Grim asks the sergeant what he needs. I need you to need less from me. Three left. Okay. As a child, Grim waited alone inside the car once a week while the mother shopped for groceries. She wrote screenplay treatments in her head about young girls abandoned by their mothers in cars outside small Kansas grocery stores. One movie girl spends most of the movie researching how to pay a mortgage absent a grown-up. From a car window, a child might mistake the glint of sun off car roofs as waves and crests. This is how Grimm learned the magic of motion, like how, as a child, your feet and thighs still roll in figure eights as you lace your sneakers and walk to the car after roller skating. At bedtime, the youngest finally puckers her baby fat lips, pulls up half of Grandma Verla's old quilt and the corner of a pink plush blanket bought new, and rolls onto her right side. She settles into the mattress like I've seen dogs do. She will be asleep by the time Grim reaches her bedroom. This is a routine that lasts hours. Milk, water, snacks, diapers, books, Band-Aids, more books. This is the joy I tried to explain to an old friend as we wrote together one weekend to ensconced. Mostly, the friend and I listened to each other and agreed, you're so right. The game women need to play with each other to feel alive. Grim feels this joy in her hips. Joy radiates down her left leg from her sacrum to the top of her foot. Joy thickens in the long muscles in the backs of her legs, wraps itself like a glove might each finger around her chest, and hugs and hugs and hugs. Joy settles on her like dirt on pavement after a pelting winter rain. Now it is July outside. Grim feels sorry for herself in a chair watching the impending dark. It smells like July and freshly cut grass. The house windows, small squares like teeth. Grim wants someone who loves her to say, enough now, too much. But for the body in pain, every moment is an accounting pain. Thank you all so much.
It's kind of a half-ass step. A little bit of it. One more time for Allison, please. So is there a meaning in the name Grimm, or is that just the name you chose?
There is, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Okay.
Everybody can hear you.
I worked in nonprofit management for a long time, and one of my last jobs in that area was helping unhoused teens get into housing, and they all have street names.
Okay.
That was hers, and she has a real, attachment in my heart, but I also think it's funny because I'm a real glasses half empty kind of person, so it makes me laugh.
There you go. Excellent. I like it. All right. Next, how you doing there, Bethany? We're going to bring up our social media queen because, as I said, Erin had a sick kid tonight, so Erin was going to go next. But Bethany is a wonderful poet, and I think you should hear her stuff. So I'm gonna bring up Bethany Richards, who is fantastic and tall. I don't have a bio to read.
So, I didn't prepare this at all, and so we're just gonna wing it.
Yay!
This first poem, so I'm gonna be reading from a unpublished chapbook that will one day be published, hopefully, crossing fingers, right? So this first one is called Limbo. Stuck in the middle, suspended in air, no place to hold me, so I fall, heart first, into a mess, clothed in a dress woven with all this color I've acquired. I look around to see my eye. Can I see? Nothing, or darkness. My eyes are still painted shut. In Technicolor I dream. The pond beneath my feet. Cool water laps up my ankles and stones smooth and rough cozy up to the soles of my feet. The sky above my head, clear blue, as if I jumped, I would fly through infinity, with white fluffy clouds, waiting for a pillow fight. The trees enclose this space, ancient and wise with their rough trunks, and a canopy of green for shelter. Magic lives everywhere. Follow the trail till you find home. Sticks and stones fall beneath your bones. What is meant for you is looking for your trail. It's in the air. What's that scent sparked just for me? A spot needs your energetic form. Cleanse and purify now, my dear. The past has been steeped in lies. Transform and step into the sun. This dear maple grounded my grief under a setting sun. A new world has begun. Neither flashlights nor bonfires will be enough light. Gather your forces and step left foot forward. Hold power by staying still. Embody this choice. Invoke this direction. Exude this vision. Everything is now alive, unless it thinks it's dead. Leave those for the fairies. The trail doesn't end. And if we stop to meander, our work will remain undone. Cast off the ropes that bind you. Cut through the sails which follow the wind. You are the new captain, and this canoe needs only one. This river has no end. Encroaching on a waterfall, it's about to begin again. Let us be taken and thrown into the mix. Let your body float to the surface. First breath. Second breath. Now we don't need the canoe. Stand as you are able. Walk to the shore. Lines only parallel. Never forget the fall and what it was to grasp for air. Taken for granted, we wilted with despair. Covered our ears for fear of what we couldn't remember. Now is the time for adventure. Plenty is all we have. Daring to bleed for our hopes and dreams because it's all within our hands. Pray softly to our ancestors. Gratitude in each deed done. As we move forward, they cheer us on by name. Snakes slithering in agreeance and birds fly over my head. This place feels so familiar, and yet I haven't left my bed. Okay, let's find another one. Ooh, okay, so this one, I'll just say actually yesterday was my mom's birthday, and she died about 1.5 years ago, so it was a day of mourning for me. But this poem was one that I wrote when she was diagnosed with cancer. And it's called Fight, Love. Fight. Not the kind swords drawn, screaming and rushing across the battlefield. Not a bloody fight where the enemy lays in the cold, wet ground, saying, no, you do not belong in my body. Like a void surrounded by sunshine. Are you watching? This fight requires no hate. This is a fight of non-acceptance, that you will not be overtaken. Standing in defiance, it is the fight where you are strong, you are beautiful, and you are inspiring. It is the fight that cannot be lost, because it is the fight of worth and soul-driven perfectionism. This is a battle that is necessary for life, a quiet storm, divinely timed. Valkyries cry, it's really peace and love and light. Which side is stronger when only one side is fed and the other is no longer denied? Love. Not the kind all-consuming where you think you cannot go on, not a romantic, intimate entanglement, heart beating till it breaks, saying, yes, I choose to stay in my body. Like a positive encompassing all that is negative. Are you listening? This love requires no other. It is a love of reconciliation, that you will break your heart open, standing in submission. It is a love of inner knowing. You are healing, and you are strikingly familiar. It is a love that never needed to be found, because it is a love that has flowed through eternity, a coming together of soul and body, movement flowing through the moonlight, a thunderclap and sudden realization. Cerberus snores to this harmony. In unity, we are all stronger. Differences dissuade an old hunger, and acceptance is all that remains. Okay, I'll just keep going kind of in order. This one is called What is Beauty? I find it's better to be betwixt with beauty, to know her scope which fools so many, an unerring sacrificial surface surrounded by suits of adoring yet trivial personalities. I'm just wondering, where'd you go for your transformation? Pulling petals and still wondering where you went on your transportation. When in doubt, just check the blouse and then stand in formation. Hear all those cheers? It's hollow. Just blending voices of the past into visual representation. And where did you go for your transfiguration? Get down to the marrow. A sharper sword for less scarring. Pull your ears off and cut your hair. A conehead looking toward tomorrow, pulling a string tied to the elephants in the room. Have you found your Trans-Siberian Orchestra? One more time for the nunnin back in the reformed uniform. It's not about forgiveness. Once, when I was young, I skipped a stone across the river. Skimming the surface is still satisfying when the stars come out. Reflections and epiphanies from lightning bolts carrying the currents, tucked inside a shell with 4 chambers. Thunder growls and water meows, waiting on your transistor radio. From within, a whisper of wisdom. Is that an intuition? Where beauty resides isn't seen by opal eyes, only when divine desires for freedom. Watch it now, unfurl your brow. Have you looked at your own hands lately? Again and again we return to sin, but this time I found the transition. Like dragonflies fluttering upstream, juggling more than time. Tell me with eloquent words, where is beauty? And when does it transpire? Like when the ions convalesced in a static dance, fading through northern lights, I watched. But you're all in a trance. How much time do I have left? Do one more? Okay, I love this one, so I'll do this one. Maybe I could do like one really short one after.
Sure.
Just do, okay. This one's called Don't You Want to Get Lost? Don't you want to get lost? Throw out all your plans and escape from life and what this journey had promised. Take a seat on the driver's side and press the gas for infinity, not even stopping for fuel. And when we hit the ocean, let the vehicle float. If it sinks, start swimming and let the tide take control. What am I running from? I never ate the cake that crumbles. Illusions of a world grander than I've known. Dreams eating into my destiny. Fate faltering before it was fixed in stone. I can't control the outcome, and I don't want to know. I'd rather live in my visions and collect colored glasses tinting my way home. But don't you want to get lost? Live from a fresh squeeze start. Abide by new rules and kick the dust storms up in a swirl. Use a magic wand to transport us to a new time. Forget all the suffering which drew us close. Breathe in crisp air and salute a new land. Create from nothing. Everything that never existed until my mind conjured it all up. Make gossamer trees glistening with watermelon dew. Take a dip in delightfully blooming flames and warm up in crystals of magnified glory. What is the point of dreaming if you still have to wake up? I wish I could get lost. Take the next rocket ship into space and climb a mountain to see past infinity. Leave behind this body, see places which paint prison walls into pictures of peace. Wipe all I knew to be true into the trash and step into the black hole where nobody knows where it goes. I might be ripped apart, but wouldn't that be rad if on the other side it's more than what I know? What if my brain could conceive of each fallen leaf and each speck of sand really is its own galaxy, where we can get lost in the waves of each sound? I think I'll get lost in thoughts and create whatever brings happiness at last, or lost, starting with my socks and letting my mind keep heading north until I don't know a single thing. Okay, this one's really short. It's just called Conclusion. Some heartbreaks are meant to cure you. If death and life are in the power of the tongue, then I want to live on the tip. Love is never optional, but if you break, it will turn unconditional.
Keep it going for Bethany. I think it'd be funny if you'd say, this one's called Conclusion. Thank you.
Yeah. Even shorter.
All right, let's bring up our next poet here. Kendrick Hall is born native of North Minneapolis, where he works as a youth director and educator, an underground poet who's been writing poetry since 7th grade and has performed on various stages since 2011 here in Minnesota. You can also find Kendrick snapping photos at a variety of events, which is a hobby and a skill he enjoys. Kendrick's stage name is Ken Poetry, who began his journey with writing love poems that have evolved since receiving an undergraduate degree at Gustavus Adolphus College in 2014 and a Master of Divinity from Luther Seminary in 2020. You can find him on Instagram at Ken Poetry or K_views111 for photography. Without further ado, please let us welcome Ken Poetry. Okay, I messed up.
No, you're good, you're good. y'all doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Got also a variety of poems to share with y'all tonight. And thank you, Tony, for having me, and Poets and Pints as well. First poem I'm gonna start with is called Mental. It's about mental health with men and suicide. Mental. Men expressing negative thoughts always listen. When it comes to our minds, that's the only condition. Someone who wants to hear and understand us, only thing missing. Why are rates of suicide so high? Brothers, can I get a witness? 525,000 a year, 10,000 a week, and it's clear. When it comes to I and my brother's life, no one is really talking or want to hear. Hear what I have to say, so why speak? Why express these thoughts when I'm called weak? You punk, you sissy, you bitch, softy, you pipsqueak. And that's why when it comes to the mountain of suicides, we're at the peak of a mountain, ready to dive, questioning ourselves, what's the point to be alive? Questioning why men are only honored after we died. Like, damn, when it comes to gender, is the world having to sue aside? You get it? Sue aside. Tormenting men into suicides, putting men down has been a trendy vibe, and no longer can I allow these thoughts to hide, for they're always in the back of my mind. Can y'all really take time and be kind? Can you really see us men as divine? Hard to say when we are not even aligned. And when it's come to our masculinity, I feel like the world is lying. Mental. Men expressing negative thoughts, always listen. When it comes to our minds, that's the only condition. Someone who wants to hear or understand us, the only thing missing. Why are rates of suicide so high? Brothers, can I get a witness? 525,000 per year, 10,000 a week, and it's clear. When it comes to I and my brother's life, no one is really talking or want to hear. Thank you. This is why I go into this next poem. I feel like this next one gives us a reason to keep going and keep flowing. It's called Breathe. Breathe and let it go. Breathe deeply into your soul. Breathe and just know. Breathe. You can take control. Life is not easy, best believe me, but you and I are called to keep breathing. You gotta inhale in and exhale out. Breathe into your nose and out your mouth. The slower the breathing, the faster the healing. Control your breathing, raising the tingly heat feeling. It is God-given, don't take it for granted. Deep meditative breathing is where dreams are planted. Breathe and let it go. Breathe deeply into your soul. Breathe and just know. Breathe. You can take control. A perfect way to release the stress. Removing old energies, live to be your best version of yourself only you may create. Breathe in the new and out your old fate. Breathe in life, for you are a flower. Take time to breathe deeply every hour. Breathing is important and so are intentions. Breathe to raise your vibration to a new dimension. Breathe and let it go. Breathe into your soul. Breathe and just know. Breathe, you can take control. Breathing is a great way to rejuvenate, a great way to place love in your heart and remove hate. Breathe because our ancestors continue to pave the way. Breathe for those who have lost their lives this day. Breathe because it's the best practice one can do. Breathe with intentions can make the world better too. There's a lot about breathing we just don't know. So breathe with me and let every duality thing go. Breathe and let it go. Breathe deeply into your soul. Breathe and just know. Breathe. You can take control. Thank you. This next piece is called Not Easy to Feel What I Am. This actually was like a note I wrote to a friend. They asked me how I was doing and it turned into a poem. Sometimes the human mind cannot comprehend the illusion, so we continue to pretend to be other than who we really are. children of light, children of the stars. The days and years are passing by, and my faith continues to remain on high. My life has changed drastically, and I'm grateful Creator is on my side. If I was to say it has been easy, that would be a lie. I know where to find peace. I find it inside. This allows my heart to open up, and it's open wide. The endless love Creator shares effortlessly flows inside. Inside my body, filling my heart space, bringing my being spiritually, mentally, emotionally to a higher state. So I will say to you now, I feel great, and I hope and pray you too can relate. Sometimes the human mind cannot comprehend the illusion, so we continue to pretend to be other than who we truly are, children of light, children of the stars. I work out, I read, and I meditate for strength, balance, and to elevate. I know my individual consciousness decides the kind of world I create. It's not easy to carry any of this weight and wouldn't pass it on at any rate. However, keeping my soul up to date allows me to remain in a peaceful state. I know love is a state of being from within to without. I have to go within, allowing love to remove the clout. I am grateful and appreciative to the Creator I shout. Without remaining connected and grounded, what will life be about? Sometimes the human mind cannot comprehend the illusion, so we continue to pretend to be other than who we truly are, children of light, children of the stars. Thank you. This next poem was inspired by Lauryn Hill, the song Killing Me Softly. I don't know how many of y'all know that song, but
Everybody knows that.
you never know. You never know.
And I don't, if you don't know it, then I don't care.
Right. You're killing me softly. You're killing me softly with our lives lost vision. Just say yes and consider that your decision. The road has run out, but yet to feel the collision. My muscles tightening up. Now I'm feeling the tension. Damn. Does she know everything about her? Feeds my soul. I'm struggling off the track where it goes beyond my control. While there she stands in my heart that she holds. I'm thinking to myself, how could you be so bold? How could a sensitive hot thing like you be so cold? Everything doesn't last forever, I was being told. What is going on? I say as tears rush into my eyes. I was in shock. Guess I was in for a surprise. All these truths, I guess, was turning into lies. The feelings for me, I guess, have died. Yes, I know I put you through a lot, but that's just life. But the pages have turned as she slowly stabbed me with this knife. You're killing me softly. Guess in life you either freeze or you burn. Go back a few pages because I don't want it to be my turn. Sitting deep in my mind, this is a lesson learned. I love no more, yet do I earn as of her concern. All she wanted me to do was read her, but there's so many books. Said you didn't see it in your vision, I guess you didn't look. She left me hanging like drying clothes. Man, she's off the hook. And I'm speechless. Man, this shit sucks. With her, I was free. Now I'm stuck. Feel it for me, she can give two. She threw me the keys, walked out the door, and wished me luck. You're killing me softly. I ran to her, said, could you stop, please? Thinking quickly, how could I put her mind at ease? Yeah, there's many other girls, but you're the one I want to squeeze. When I used to be on a pedestal, and now I'm on my knees. Told me it's time for her to grow. She don't want to be a seed. While so let's break this down, roll it up, and blow it like some weed. I'll do anything to fulfill your wants and needs. She didn't understand that for her, I'll bleed. But instead, she wanted to go lay in her own bed. Just wanted to be alone, lots were going through her head. She turned and walked away from me with lots unsaid. She did me like a murder case and left me dead. You're killing me softly. Thank you. So this is kind of like the love poetry I was talking about, getting into that. And just got inspired one day being at an open mic and someone sang the song and I was like sitting there writing as they were singing it. So this next piece is called I Want to Be. So this is for you lovers out there. I want to be the pair of shoes you wear. I want to be the man who is always there. I want to be whatever is your favorite place. I want to be the smile on your face. I want to be the prayer from up above. I want to be your friend, maybe your love. I want to be the air that you breathe. I want to be your number one stress relief. I want to be your every feeling. I want to be your every healing. I want to be your ups when you're down. I want to be the guy you want around. I want to be the warmth when you're cold. I want to be your laughter even when it gets old. I want to be the reason that your heart beat. I want to be your honey, promise to be sweet. I want to be the lips in which you kiss. I want to be the guy you always miss. I want to be what other guys are not. I want to be the guy who untie things when they're not. I want to be the one for who you go seek. I want to be your strength when you're weak. I want to be the covers that keep you warm. I want to be your savior. Come into my arms. I want to be your favorite mission. I want to be your greatest competition. I want to be your first, even if I'm in last. I want to be your future. Forget your past. I want to be the brightening of your day. I want to be more than all this I say. I want to be. Thank you. This next one is called By the Ocean. Hey, my heart is light and open. And for a moment, I was hoping if you and I can trip together and magically land by the ocean, coasting. On the way to the end, our feet dry by the sand, amazed to be connected like waves to an ocean, and we cannot pretend to not feel whole again. Like every time I look at you, I see a reflection of my soul again. So I was wondering if we can take the chance of holding hands, come up with a master plan for our future plans, because maybe you do not understand what pleasure and passion it is to be your friend. And I do not want our chemistry at all to end. You have been much more than an inspiration, but a peer. It feels like I've known you for thousands of years, but now reaching for more love than fear. That special feeling it is you next to me standing there. There's nothing better than these sacred moments we share, conversing and laughing about our love shared. Everything just fades as we take a deep breath into the sunset air. Getting closer to you was all I was really hoping. Grateful that our time and conversation remained open. Like the waters, hope this relationship remained in a harmonic motion as we continue to enjoy our vibrant time by the ocean. Thank you.
One more.
I got one more. I can do one more. I'm gonna do one of my favorites. It's called Black is Beautiful. Let me hear you say, Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Let me hear you say, Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Let me hear you say, Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful. Many meanings to this phrase. One of many colors I find as my lover while some betrays. The color sits deep in my mind for a definition to find, but there it lays. This phrase is unique and too powerful to seek that we are amazed. Where do we start to take part of this phrase of art? Damn, to us it's so good in our heart that it rises on our charts. Is it the skin color that we do not find in others? Or could it be the attitudes of our sisters and brothers? Nah, it gotta be the roles of our fathers and mothers. Does it lay in our eyes and told all beautiful truths and lies? See, beauty is in our newborn lives. We're black. Black is in our souls that die to bring tears to our eyes and very loud cries. Still stand with our face held high because we have so much pride. We have so much strength that we don't follow. We guide. And people think we have loud voices, but it's only so that we can make our own choices. Let's just say we all have dreams that we will pursue by any means. We can't blame us for being black. It's in our genes. This is what we do to be meaningfully suitable. And this is my melanated way to say, Black is beautiful. Thank you.
Keep it going for Ken Poetry. All right, just a couple of things, and then we're going to take a little break. One, we put out a anthology called The Stuff That Was Said. This is all poets that were on the show in our first 2 years. Not all the poets. A lot of the poets that were on in the first 2 years, including myself. Like I said earlier, we're about to hit our 10-year anniversary, so we put this out just to remind people where it started. All the money from these goes to Cracked Walnut, which is the local chapter of the League of Minnesota Poets. So it is a tax deductible thing if you decide to buy one. They are $15. So lots of great poems in here. The other thing, because like I said, we're nonprofit, we do try to collect donations. It is a free show. So you don't have to put anything in here. But if you have $1 or whatever, that's great. If you don't carry cash, like a lot of the world these days, we have the table tents on the table there that have a PayPal code right on them, a QR code. You can donate that way as well. You can also buy the book that way. Just let me know you did it. Otherwise, we're going to take a little break. And while we're on break, please check out Allison's books. She's got like 150 of them over there. And you should buy them because we should support local art. And when we come back, we're going to do open mic. The sign up for it is on the table. There's plenty of spots left and we'll have plenty of time. So please, if you're a poet at all, you get 2 minutes to do one poem. And we love it. So please do it. And that's it. We'll see you in a few. public. Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to do the open mic. As I stated before, when you come up for open mic, please keep your poems to 2 minutes and just one poem. So if you decide to do a 30-second poem, thanks, but still just one poem. Okay. So I always just do it in random order because otherwise people start putting their names all over the board, and that's annoying to me. So why don't we do this? Allison, give me a number 1 through 6.
6.
Nick.
Thanks, everyone. It's kind of nice to have a small crowd tonight, actually. Thanks for those who shared too.
Where's
This,
your crazy book?
I know, it's over there.
Okay.
I fell.
So if you've
I
never
fell
seen
to
Nick
the-
on stage, he's got this old book. It looks like he came from
Yeah.
Mordor.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah. This one's been through a few edits, so it's somewhere in there. No, it's in a past book, I don't know. This one's called Let Go Even of Bliss. I sat down in the silent stillness to make friends with myself, wondering if I might find a heaven already here, already arrived. Except that it was neither silent nor still, and I treated myself as I have all along, pushing and tugging, dropping and picking up, consistent in inconsistency. In one stretched moment, waiting serenely for the dawning of morning, then in another shrunken moment, rushing to pull the sun up. The part of me that fashions itself as a great yogi had of course considered that this was the way of my life, had seen the futility of this floundering war with myself, and so had pronounced myself consequently lost to the tyranny of my own self. Hearing this, I came to believe myself a hopeless heretic of the meditative way, and began following the teachings of that inner yogi who wore robes of wise answers, concealing a heart not practiced in the ways of trust. I deferred to him in everything that asked for an answer, and so I came to have for everything an answer. Came indeed to believe everything had an answer. This wore on me and began to tendril its way into my sanctuary silence, the only place left in a salesman world where humility continued its masterful playing. I began to believe that there was a response to everything written in the stars, and I began to forget that it's not answers the heart longs for. Thank you.
Ken, give me number 1 through 5.
4.
That would be Gabriel. All the way to the stage. All the way to the stage.
One second. All right. Ice just came in on the lakes, so this is one I read about ice coming out last year. It's called Ice Fishing for Gratitude. I tossed my prayers like wishful pennies through the augured mouth of the wildest lake in the heart of the city. Another week in the rear view, ready again to fall back into gratitude, I donned my parka of patience and plodded to the ice. I marveled at the abundance, my luck. The poems just wouldn't stop biting, and landing the catch was easy, but cutting out the sharp bones from my language, making it tender, swallowable, was much harder. I think I over-harvested, obliviously pushed right past the seasonal quota of how many times I'm allowed to tug on a single place in hopes it moves me in or out of stillness. Winter, mild as it was, dragged on, and the longer my God stayed statute, the more easily it gave its steely back to my wanting feet, the more I resigned myself to a solitude which, at my best, I know forms only a small part of who I might become. So when the ice finally melted and the lake's whole body again rippled in the soft whisper of warm dusk wind, I inched out on a tree overhanging the again dangerous water and watched the geese return in pairs. I listened past the plains above and the cars around to their calls. Fly north again, they said, there is more to learn, come. We'll teach you to better welcome the sun's grace. Will you wake with us, beholden to the light?
Okay. Sri, give me 1 through 4. Give me number 1. 3. That is Sonia.
I don't usually read off my phone, but hey. Sorry. Okay, this is called Let Me Begin Again, after Levine's poem of the same name. That's Philip Levine. It isn't that I was pure because I hadn't bled. It's that the world's filth hadn't rubbed off on me yet, as I brushed alongside it, a pale eyelet dress smudged against a vehicle's accumulation of grime. Then my cunt filled with rust the same year men started following me around in their cars, and someone in Chicago filled Tylenol capsules with cyanide. The same year a girl my age swallowed one and died. Then the flow came unbidden, Buicks and Camaros boxing me in, and for 40 years my ovaries ejected their seeds like ruby morsels from the otherwise pith of the pomegranate. For 40 years, the filth of the world my body bled for. But what is pure? I confess, even God washed away in a tsunami, bits of him tangled in the salt ruined palms, beaches scrubbed of children and holy vestiges, while fish deposited on the second floor of the ocean-blasted resort gasped in disbelief. We always recall the first blush of the death of childhood, red seeping into the seams of our jeans in study hall, in science class, in the back seat of that Buick. You could say that with every egg sloughed in a slurry of blood, a little innocence stripped away. 40 years in a drawer full of underwear ruddy in the crotch, but I think I could be done with gore, gone dry. Sometimes those eggs became our children we thought might be the generation without war. And sometimes we want to label an ending as a new start. Sometimes we want to mistake a palimpsest of memoir for a blank slate. Let me begin again, fresh out of hemorrhage and ready to nestle a full drawer of white cotton panties against the lavender sachet, like the sweet scent of rebirth. All of it unsullied by what I can't unknow. Thank you.
Oh,
Sorry, I broke it.
you didn't break it. It just needs to be tightened. There we go. All right. Bethany, where are you? There you are. 1 through 3.
3.
Everybody keeps saying 3. Irene. What are you milking it, Irene?
The retired men of Curry, Minnesota. There's no cafe in this town of 220 wedged between corn and soybean fields. Instead, Retired men gather at Sinclair, Soul Convenience Store, where a handmade sign in the window promotes night crawlers. It's a pit stop on our way to the state park. After gassing up, my husband and I breeze in to buy ice. There by the cash register sit 6 guys in a semicircle of folding chairs as if they were a panel rating the customers. Next on their agenda, happy hour at the Hideaway. A man with work-worn hands boasts about his cherry tomatoes, which he eats ice cold with sugar. My family put sugar on tomatoes too, I pipe up, feeling like I had invaded a barber shop. But then, some like salt. That last remark falls flat. Sugar is the hands-down choice of this group. A basket of homegrown tomatoes, imperfectly bulbous, cracked at the stem, sits on the counter. Therefore, throwing at people, one sly codger grins. I can see that band of seniors in winter as they enter, red-nosed, stamping feet, jackets open, gloves jammed into pockets. They swear it isn't as cold as it used to be. There's one missing from the bunch, like a tooth that has been freshly pulled.
Next up, we have Annika.
That's me.
Okay, which one's the right way to say it?
Annika.
Annika.
Okay, here's a poem that I wrote for my mom. Ruth Anna Susanna Giovanna Epsilon Houtermans Fjellsted. She was given 5 names, but they called her Bamzi, after Bambino, the small one. She was the first child of 2 dreamers, born in Berlin, the political womb of an unborn war. They carried her to England and Russia, thinking one could escape from brutality. She held 3 languages in her young memory, too many words for tables and chairs, and not one to name the unknown. She lost her father in a train station and carried his name like an answer for 3 countries and 13 years until she met him with a handshake as someone else's father. Bombs away, the American children called her, the German girl, the foreign child, strong words for teenagers in a war-crazed nation. She traded her name with her history. She moved west with a man, a mathematician, who also knew other languages to describe reality and avoid the truth. She raised 4 children, 1 dog, 5 gardens, and lived 45 years with a war in her heart before she discovered her life was the battleground, an unfair advantage by any definition, a life so neatly built over an untamed volcano. Battle scars are more than bullet wounds. When your father was a man in a picture whose name came to you at the touch of a silver spoon or a single pearl, when home was a book, a dish, a dream. You have given your children 3 names and 2 languages, and caught in the translations, we are heir also to a certain longing, a presence I know in my body, a search for a thing called family, a place called home.
Next up, we got somebody who will be a feature on next month's show, which will be January 15th. That's the earliest in the month we'll ever have a show. What? What?
He was wondering if he can still go.
You can, just not yet. Yeah, we'll get to you in 1 second. First is Anna, right?
Anna.
Anna, damn it.
I lay in the darkness, recharging, my body simply being, while thoughts drift by like clouds in the sky. I lay in the darkness, waiting for what feels like a lifetime as fear, dread, and anxiety pay their inevitable visit. I lay in the darkness, watching as they come and go, never joining their never-ending quest to solve life's problems. I know there's nothing out there that needs solving. Most things aren't worth the worrying. There's nothing to figure out. Time will pass, as it always does, bringing about change, one of life's constants. Change is the best thing that has ever happened to me. It is also the worst. But who am I to judge what is right or wrong in this universe? All I know is that things are happening. I am here, observing, experiencing. This life is one of a kind, molded by the hands of time, guided by the whims of fate, crafted out of stardust and energy. Thank you.
Next up, we have a tall individual. Goes by the name of 6ix9ine. Everybody, put your hands together.
Can't tell all my secrets at first. Hey, wait, he is tall. No, I was, this is normally I have a guitar in my hand and I sing a bit, but ever since Nikki Giovanni passed, you know, I'm just kind of, anyway, in my feels. But this one is called Snowflakes. It's such a thing in life that no two snowflakes are the same. To the nakedness in our eyes, do they appear to be? But we have witnessed for a brief moment our countryside, on our countryside, riddled with frothy flakes flooding our pathways on their march to supersaturate the place known in our hearts so far. Snowflakes are different, and so are the times. We aren't going anywhere. We're standing still everywhere. It's strange for me to understand how something so individual can make such good snowmen, or even unique bars in Sweden. Yes, each flake differs, but what locks them? What ties them together? What makes them hold on to each other for dearness? Life makes snow fall. Love makes them hold. I don't imagine that in their descent, they contemplated whether or not the place they'd land would be, meaning, is it already, or is it what the old clouds told them before their only jump to freedom together? Did they know that some would end up huddled together, or that some would not make the entire journey? Dreams are met in vision, and we are met in smiles. Life is met in peace with a chance to fly, or just a chance to catch snowflakes passing by.
Okay, I'm going to close this out with a piece that is not in any of my books. I do have 4 books. If you're looking to buy poetry, I'm always happy to sell it. as well as any poet who has ever put out books. All right. I know that was the most profound thing said on the stage. Okay, here we go. It's called Feast. Think of the best mistake you've ever made. Was it a person who finally turned over your engine, made you feel like a woman or a man or some other definition of a human being? Did they remind you that you were breathing, alive, like you were launched into space? The space between relationships filled with jet fuel, fire, and the thought that you may actually be touched again, maybe even twice. Maybe in that place between reason and responsibility, that place of festivities and fuck yeah. Probably for a while. Otherwise, why would you stay? Why would anyone stay? Why would you decide the lesson is worth the learning? Why would the earth keep turning? Why would you have anything ever to do with anyone ever? Love usually lacks logic. Some people fall in love with the wrong people sometimes. We're told stories of knowing when it's right. We're told stories of feeling it in your bones. And stories are fantasies, and fantasies are lies. The truth is that someone will, at best, be good enough, kind enough, blind enough to your bullshit. We will lean on this for years, decades. Even if that person has made a constant feast of your heart for years, decades, they will have no idea of this meal they have been consuming. They will wake up, peel back their blankets, drink coffee, turn on the shower to wash off yesterday, dress in something that makes them feel good, even if it physically hurts, go to work, go to happy hour, find another person, put a number in their phone. No one remembers numbers anymore. Call, plan a date, pretty themselves up, fight the urge to flee, date, smile, kiss, fuck, find love, find home, break up, break down, feel homeless, feel lost, feel quiet, cry, sleep, try again, another day just like you. At least, this is what you hope. I fear what's left of my heart is nothing more than an appetizer, a mere morsel. It won't satiate. That's a lot of words and metaphor to say that I miss you more than I'd like to. Thank you. So, if you know poets, which I hope you do, if you don't, you should meet some. They're great. We have these cards on the table. On the back of the card is the survey that any poet in Minneapolis, or if they're willing to travel here, can fill out, and they will get on the show. There is no audition process for this show. There's no gatekeeper, really. Just sometimes you just have to wait a little bit of time because we plan out pretty far ahead. So please give them this card or give them that link. We're always looking for poets, especially BIPOC poets, because we just don't have as many signed up as we have white people signed up. So I'd like to have other people sign up, please. But other than that, this has been a wonderful time. This is Poets and Pints number 115, as I said. Our next show is on January 15th at 7 p.m. right here in this house. But then our February show, as I said, it was going to be on a Saturday, February 8th, here in this room and actually in the whole building, but the poetry will be in here. And you can get tickets if you go to Eventbrite and just search Poets and Pints 10-year anniversary. That's for the February show. Every other show we don't have tickets for. So please sign up. Please get your tickets. Please be here. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We have to be out of here at 9, so we have a little bit of time. So if you haven't bought a book from Allison, you should. And otherwise, if you could do me a favor, if you're sitting at a table, bring your candle to the bar, but not the candle holder, and bring the table tent to the bar as well, because that will help you with putting stuff away. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. My name's Tony Placido, and I will see you all next month.